Morning.
Good morning.
You?
So yeah,
How are you?
not too bad, not too bad.
Bang on time as always.
Had to go to Brimbles on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean Friday milk?
Brimbles! It's different. It's an entirely different thing.
Debatable.
I don't know why you can't just accept that Brimbles is a different thing.
What did you get? Anything nice?
Sausage and egg
From Friday.
from Brimbles. It's Brimbles. Switched it on.
You haven't thought that all this Friday meal is assisting in putting on weight for you?
Do you know what? I would actually say that this is probably healthier than any anti-depressant ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like things like meat, right? And fried foods and stuff like that, they contain a compound called tryptophan. Have you ever heard of serotonin?
Of course.
Right, so that regulates regulates so much in your body, and having it at like exactly the right levels is difficult, but most of it is actually produced in your intestines, believe it or not. And what it is that if you eat things that have like tryptophan in them, you have an enzyme in your in your guts, and what it does is it turns tryptophan into serotonin. So the idea is that the more theoretically, like the more tryptophan that you eat, the more serotonin you'll produce. And things like meats have a lot of it in there. And as it regulates things like sleep and appetite and stuff like that, what you can find is that you would find that once you've had something that's got a lot of meat in it, the amount of tryptophan, the amount of serotonin that you'll produce will send a message to your brain to say everything's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to eat because you've got enough serotonin in you, which says that you've already had something to eat. And so it's like if you look at that, it's like if you want to sleep better, rather than take a sleeping pill, you should just have something like heavy, meaty, maybe dairy too, before you go to bed. Because then by the time that gets into your guts, you're already thinking to yourself, you want to...
I read somewhere that if you take antibiotics, you're 4 times more likely to suffer from depression in the next year. And that's because it kills off the stomach producing enzymes, is it?
Yeah, so your enzymes, you have like 2 sides of an enzyme. So I'm trying to imagine it like this. So this is your enzyme right here. And it'll have something that's in there, and it'll kind of like mold it out, and then it'll have it's got a back end as well, that the actual like product of what the enzyme is producing comes out. So if you have something like an antibiotic, it's designed to disrupt proteins within the gut because it doesn't want the bacteria to grow. So that's what antibiotics do, is that they try and stop bacteria from growing by kind of like shaping them around. So even though the target isn't the actual enzyme that you're looking to produce, because you have that enzyme, because the chemical will go into the enzyme and it's meant to jumble it about and make it all distorted, so that it's for bacteria, but for your own gut flora and fauna, it would do the same thing. So that then, when the molecule is going in there, it can't go in because it's not the exact fit that it once was. So it's not able to produce the other thing. Another thing that does that, alcohol. Alcohol does it in two ways. Firstly, it gets in the way of the molecule and the enzyme. I'm just trying to think now if I've got an example. But, okay. So alcohol will denature it to the point where even if that's trying to go in, because there's this glove is in the way of the enzyme and the molecule, it won't actually get in there. So it won't actually produce it won't be able to produce the serotonin because it's in the way.
What's your thoughts on probiotics? Would that fix it?
Jury's out.
Apparently there's 70 different kinds, isn't it? 70 different kinds of probiotics.
Yeah, I think the thing is that it's some people absolutely swear by them. I'm not entirely convinced, but
Have you tried kefir?
Huh?
You tried kefir?
Oh, kefir.
Yeah.
I
I found that helped me immensely.
really?
Yeah, she got much better after it.
Because they used to talk about it on the Archers a lot years ago, before I stopped listening to it. And there was a Bulgarian woman in that actually. She agreed to be a surrogate for the gay couple that ran a farm. But yeah, they had but yeah, it's kind of like, this is why I cut down on the alcohol, or try and cut down on it as much as possible, because the alcohol will also, due to the other thing, it will also go into the back of the enzyme like that, and so where it's supposed to be going in will actually mess up like that. So kind of like, if I stay off the source, and if I have one of those rolls every day, I figure it's far better than any like antidepressant. Because antidepressants, they try to convince the body to recycle the serotonin rather than produce it. And most things in your body have like a regulatory thing. So if you produce too much serotonin, your body knows that you produce too much serotonin, so it'll stop producing as much. If you produce too little serotonin, most of the time your body will try to compensate. Most of the time. So it's that balance that's there, which I think, you know, that regulation of mood, regulation of kind of like mental state is there. Whereas when somebody normally takes what are called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, it just tries to keep it at a constant level. So when your serotonin's low, and it tells you need something to eat because your serotonin's low, and that's what your body does. Serotonin's low, your body says you need something to eat. So you have something to eat, your serotonin raises, and you have those signals there. Whereas if it's a constant thing, you might not necessarily feel as hungry as you would. Or the big one is sex drive. It really kills sex drive. Because if your serotonin is low, and don't get me wrong, there are a whole other raft of things that go along with being physically intimate with somebody that don't involve serotonin, but serotonin is a key part of that. So if your serotonin levels are always here, and you're not going to have that point where your serotonin levels are here, where they're below what they should be, which gives you the message, get fed, be in congress, physically intimate with somebody, and then once those two things are satisfied and it goes above there, oh okay, everything's good in your body, you can now go to sleep to let them drop a little bit. If you don't have that, you're not going to be feeling like you need to eat, like you need to have sex, like you're ready to sleep because everything's satisfied. So really it kicks those three things out of sync, and if your diet and your sex life and your sleep are not in harmony with each other, it's a surefire way that your mental health is going to get messed up. And it's one of those things that I just thought to myself, and I thought, It's the simplest little thing, but as bad as it is for me, I mean, I walk it to try and get rid of the cholesterol. Yeah, puts in my body and try and keep physically fit when I do it. But
So Florimel is actually an antidepressant.
Brimbles. I've had just about enough of your Brimbles bashing, young man. No, but it is. It's a natural antidepressant. I think, I've often said this, that instead of like prescribing antidepressants, maybe they should prescribe like a tuna sandwich every day. That'd work. So what's on the agenda for today then?